Does anybody know what a Selkie is?
Yes.
Yeah, I love you. Vermont is so cool. We're gonna get raw milk later.
That is not a joke. We actually will. Please
It's
tell
true.
us
Tell us
anywhere.
where we can get it. Well, if you don't know what a Selkie is, it's not like a weird selfie. It's a seal that can take off its skin and become human. And there are stories of Selkies all over the world. You can find them in Inuit cultures, and you can find them in Japanese mythology, and where you hear most Selkie stories coming out of is off the northwestern Isles of Scotland. And the story goes that if you could get a Selkie's skin while she's not wearing it, you can make her come home with you and be your wife. So our story begins with a very lonely fisherman. And I'm gonna say, imagine he was sometime before your great-grandfather's time. Or he could be modern. He could be looking at his cell phone, scrolling the TikTok all day long. It's a pretty lonely place to be. And he fished the same waters all his life. He lived alone in a little one-room cottage on the shore. And he made his living, setting and emptying his nets every day. Come on, guitar, you can do it, I know you can. All right, you know what? That'll do. I come home and the house is dark, so I spark a lonely flame. Fill this room with light and smoke. Listen to the ocean sing. Well, this sea never quits her sighing, and the wind never quits its rush. And every night there's fish for frying, every morning fish to catch. Just one room, thatch and stone. Just one bed, I lay alone. Just one night, over and over. Just one dream I can't remember. Lost in the waves, there's a woman mother's voice and some old forgotten melody. I wake in the night with a chill and a fright to the crash of a storm. Nobody knows except me and see if I never came home. Well, the chill never leaves my fingers, and the damp never leaves my bones. And every night I bank the embers, every morning wake alone.
So the fisherman was out. We set the scene. He was kind of a lonely person.
Fish the same waters every day. And so, when the sun was coming down and it was time to turn in, that's what he did. But one day, as he pulled up his nets and realized it was time to head for shore, a fog fell on the water. And he realized it was thick enough that he wasn't really able to see his way back to land. So he used his second best navigating sense, which is your ears. I don't know what you said, but let's talk later. He listened, and he heard the sound of voices, and he figured, okay, voices, people, land. And he followed those voices, rowing along in his little boat. And as it got darker, he got closer, the voices got louder, until the fog was lifting, and it was a full moon that night. It was October weather in North Carolina, which apparently is June weather in Vermont. So it was kind of a chilly night, and he was surprised to see the source of the voices. He hadn't rowed his way back towards land at all. He was out in the water, someplace he'd never been before, and there was a big rock rising out from under the full moon, and he could see the silhouette of bodies dancing on that rock. And they weren't just any old bodies, they were naked lady bodies. And he remembered the stories his mother had told him when he was a child about Selkies and how if you could grab their skin, you could bring one home. So he snuck up behind the rock real quiet in his little rowboat. And he grabbed one of those skins, and one by one the Selkies slipped back into their skins and dove into the water until there was only one left. And she scrambled up around the top of the rock and she saw him with her skin in his boat, and she knew. I don't know what the conversation was like, but Selkie and the fisherman made a deal. She would stay on land for 7 years, and then he would give her back her skin and let her go back to the sea. my skin and go back to the sea. Me and my mother, lovely and deep, taking me in back to the sea. Oh, oh, oh. Monster or man, one or the other, captive or free. Give me my skin and I'm back to the sea. She says, child, do you think that you know where you come from and where you might go? If you want, I can show you. Let me show you. Skin and go back to the sea. Me and my mother, lovely and deep, taking me in back to the sea. So they made their deal, the Selkie and the fisherman. And you know, I haven't really known of a lot of good relationships that started with kidnapping. But it seems like they made it work. There were rough patches, to be sure. But one way or another, 7 years had come and gone, and they had a little daughter who was maybe 4 years old. And Dad's in the house. Can I get a hand raise? All right, happy Father's Day. Anybody with a father? Yes, I see a dad and a daughter. Thank you guys for coming. Well, it takes a lot of love to take care of somebody like that. And the Selkie and the fisherman overcame a lot of their difficulties, and 7 years had arrived, and the fisherman wanted to give the Selkie back her skin, but the truth is that the night that he had found her, he had lashed it to a rock, really a boulder, pushed it off of a cliff into the ocean where she could never recover it. And that was really bad news, because it wasn't just like, oh, well, the Selkie could stay. You know, she was dying. Her hair was falling out and her skin was flaking off, and she was becoming a Pringle. So the fisherman didn't really know what to do, and he didn't have the heart to tell her what he had done. Betrayed her at the very beginning of their relationship. But one night their little girl was laying in bed, and she heard this sound that was like one of those old, you know, in old cartoons where someone takes a pie that they just baked and they put it on a windowsill to cool, and the steam like rises up like a tendril and beckons them. It was like that, and she was up and she was out, and she was down the path to the beach, and what she saw was this shimmering thing in the surf. She didn't know what it was, but just like any cat or small child, she brought it back to her mom to show her. And of course, it was the Selkie skin. So the Selkie, having run down the path after her toddler, had a choice. She could stay on land and die, or she could put on her skin and go back to the sea and do the very best she could, mothering her girl. And that's what she did. And they say that you could see the fisherman's daughter out on the rocks talking to the seals, and that she became a great teller of stories and singer of songs and breaker of hearts.
Wait, what? Nope.
Oh, you're right, I'm playing the wrong song. Are you tuned for it?
Nope.
Oh,
Let me
honey, happy Father's Day. You're doing a really good job. I fell in love with the fisherman's daughter. Moves like wind, laughs like water, mine just like a wild nor'easter, wild nor'easter. Saw her on the way to town, her hair pulled back and her shoulders down. Heavy with her father's wares, selling down a market square. Got no coin, got no copper, give my days to the fisherman's daughter, work my hands for the fisherman's daughter. All I have is all I offer, make my heart your holy altar, your holy altar. Saw her standing by the sea, black hair flowing long and free, singing some strange melody, yes sir, but she didn't see me. Love is strong, but the sea is stronger. Some hearts were made to wonder, made to wonder. From the first time that I saw her, I fell in love with the fisherman's daughter. I fell in love with the fisherman's daughter.
me, baby. What? It's Father's Day. I want to play that song.
Okay, fine. Well, we'll tell you one more chapter in the Selkie story because it's Father's Day and Omi wants to play it. I guess this song is about that feeling you get when something goes down and you're looking at it in retrospect. That hindsight is 20/20 phenomenon, right? You're like, man, I probably never really should have messed with that at all. And then sometimes beautiful things come out of those perceived mistakes. But it seems like it's all a matter of perception and how you're feeling that day and whether you're hungry. So this is a song from the fisherman's perspective, and I think that he's hungry. You ready? Dream, I climbed upon the stones and snatched her skin. She could not swim, so I took her home. Wet hands, wet curves, wet woman out of this earth, but torn from the sea. 11 years and I'll set you free. Ha! I tied it to a stone. I